we've talked until we're blue in the face and asked the question 100 times: would you rather win a trophy or would you rather get top four and stay in the Champions League? And I think that that's going towards that. But the question that he asked earlier about fielding the strongest side to compete in the cup game this week, we'll get into the Barnsley match soon. But do you think he has a point there?
I mean, given the game that follows Barnsley, I'd rather have those players available and fit against West Ham than Barnsley. I think you don't have to field, your strongest side, although I could definitely see the falling out if, we fail to win against Barnsley and go out early in the cup again. So I don't know, it's a bit of a catch-22 on it, but I would think you field a weaker side just given the competition that you're going up against Barnsley versus the Premier League side on the weekend.
Yeah, I can fully see us maybe getting into Kyle Walker-Peters and even Marcus S. Edwards and Booth and a few of these younger players that maybe went on tour with us with the summer, getting an opportunity to play, as well as Llorente and some of these other players getting a chance to start that normally would not. Um, Keith Nicholson asks, and I'm going to direct this one. I'm going to start with you, Vass, because I know that you've got some opinion on this as we move into the Swansea match a little bit. Is Dele not at his best, or is he being kicked to death every game, and it's causing him to not play as well as we should expect? Plus, is it okay for Burnley to draw with Liverpool, but versus us, it's a Wembley curse? Should something like that happen? Yeah. So he's asking two different
Okay,
questions there.
two different questions. Fine. Um, with Deli Ali, I think I mentioned on the pod when I was last on a couple of weeks ago that I just got this vibe about how he is performing, about his demeanour, and there was just something there that wasn't sitting right with me, and I wondered whether I was reading too much into it. During the last couple of weeks, I don't think I've seen anything to dispel that concern. He isn't, or doesn't appear to be, on top of his game. I thought he was poor yesterday. He obviously missed the win against Dortmund on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's got things going on in the background with, changing agents, etc. And there was a report in one of the tabloids yesterday that Spurs may be looking to renegotiate his contract now and give him an increase. So I don't know if there's a lot of distractions away from the football pitch for him, but he doesn't seem to be enjoying his football to me. He doesn't seem to be playing with a smile on his face. He seems to be running a lot with the ball and looking to buy cheap free kicks. And I mean, he had a glorious opportunity yesterday on a cross from Ericsson, I think,
Mm-hmm.
which was reminiscent of situations he had against Chelsea at White Hart Lane last season, and the ball flew off his head like I don't know, he had kind of an angle on his head or something. He just didn't go where it ought to have gone. So he doesn't look happy to me. He doesn't look like his football is flowing. Maybe it's just a question of time, and that needs to evolve. So I am a little bit concerned about Dele Alli. I thought perhaps he should have come off yesterday and maybe left Son on. But when you're dealing with an enigma like Ali, I suppose he's capable of pulling something out the bag for the team. As for the Wembley curse stuff, yeah, I don't buy into it. Our performances at the last three home games, league games, we haven't won, granted, but we've seen that against Chelsea, it was individual errors. Against Burnley, it was individual errors. And yesterday we had probably enough chances to win the game without really playing at our best. A couple of poor refereeing decisions. And it's fine margins. Harry Kane knocks that chance in that Sissoko set him up on, and we might have had a different game. So the Wembley thing's getting overplayed, but obviously the longer we go without winning, the media keep bringing it up. Pochettino has to answer the questions. I think, frankly, he's getting fed up with those questions too right now.
Yeah.
And we're just reading far too much into it. It's down to the players at the end of the day.
Yep. The Swansea match itself, for us here locally, was another wonderful day out at the Community Beer Company's brewery. We are standing on a 0-1-2 record there as we exit from this Swansea match. Chairs, I want to start talking to you about not only the the event itself at Community and that relationship that we have with Kevin and his staff, and they were also setting up for a really nice Oktoberfest party shortly after the match. But we got a nice mention on NBC from Arlo White and the broadcasting team talking about the relief efforts for Hurricane Harvey down in Houston and Southeast Texas as a whole.
And on that subject, we were made aware of an amazing story this week. On Saturday, September the 30th, members of the Austin Spurs, Dallas Spurs and San Antonio Spurs, all official Tottenham supporters groups, will head to Houston and meet up with their fellow Spurs fans in that city to assist the relief effort following Hurricane Harvey. They'll watch Huddersfield against Tottenham, 6:30 a.m. local time. That's in a Houston sports bar. They'll head into the community after that to help with the flood clearing effort and repairs in affected homes before watching the Houston Dynamo take on the Minnesota United in Major League Soccer that night. Tottenham have donated signed merchandise towards a fundraiser that will be held to raise money for relief efforts, and a GoFundMe page has been set up for donations as well. That is absolutely terrific. Brilliant. From those supporters groups, Tottenham supporters groups across Texas.
Do you want to expound on that for us a little bit?
Yeah, and excuse me, I'm sure a lot of people have seen the tweets that have gone out post-match, during the match, and it's interesting because I've been in contact with Chuck down at Austin Spurs as we coordinate this effort to go down in a couple of weeks and help out people still trying to recover and get back on their feet after Hurricane Harvey, which is now over a couple of weeks ago. And so the plan is to get down there on Friday night so everyone can go watch the Huddersfield match at Houston Spurs' home pub, which is Bayern Munich, and then go put some drywall up in people's homes and help them feel good about the recovery down in the Houston area. And then in the evening, they were all going to go watch the Houston Dynamo in Major League Soccer. So this story kind of percolated. I guess Austin had let the mothership know what was going on. Tony Stevens at Tottenham PR had reached out to his counterpart at NBC, and we got wind that Arlo might mention it at halftime, and I was kind of anticipating that. And as the match was wearing on, it kind of dawned on me, we need to pay attention to that. I mentioned it to a few of our members, and I was chatting with someone right before halftime, and boom, a cheer goes up as he starts to mention it. I watched it again on replay, and he did a very good job of explaining what was going on, mentioned all the supporters clubs in Texas, Houston, Austin, Dallas, and San Antonio, who are all contributing to this great worthy cause. We raised some money yesterday. In fact, one of our official supporters club flags that the mothership gives us every season, we put that on a silent auction, and one bid straight away won it for the day, and all those funds will be diverted to help with drywall, timber, whatever we need to do to help people in the great city of Houston get back on their feet. So fantastic effort by the PR companies picking this story up from Tottenham Hotspur and from NBC. And we thank Arlo as much as we give him a hard time on the podcast. We thank him for making that announcement. And again, it's not for the self-gratification of supporters clubs. It's to show that this great state of Texas can bandy together and support a community that's in dire need, and Houston is definitely in dire need. And obviously don't want that to be flippant with the state of Florida, which since Harvey has now been battered by Irma. Yeah. And I'm sure similar efforts are going on in Florida with our supporters clubs out there to help that state.
And keep in mind, we are winding down summer, but in both of those areas of the country, it is still very warm, very humid, and very uncomfortable for tens of thousands of people who are still without power. Not to even belabor the point about Puerto Rico and some of the other places that are going to be reportedly without power for up to 6 months. That it was a complete loss of infrastructure for some of the Caribbean islands. So our support, our help, our just thoughts and whatever we can do to get the word out to make sure that it's not lost on any part of the human element out there, that these storms have done major damage to a lot of a lot of communities, both stateside and in the Caribbean. So we want to keep all those people in our thoughts, and if you can donate, the Red Cross and those organizations have a lot of different links set up throughout the internet and whatnot. So please reach out if you can, if you haven't already, and help out those communities. It's certainly appreciated, and we'll keep banging the drum here from the podcast side, from the supporters club side, and then I'm sure the club is also very much in tune. Stacey Haley, who facilitates and is the liaison for a lot of these supporters clubs, has got to be really proud of what's going on. So I implore everyone, please help out as you can.
Yeah, and Ken, so that everyone who's listening and may not have seen the tweets from yesterday, if you go to Austin Spurs Twitter, their pinned post, their pinned tweet will take you to the GoFundMe. They were trying to raise $3,000. I know there have been funds raised aside from the GoFundMe initiative, but if you go to Austin Spurs, at Austin Spurs, type in ATX Spurs to pull them up, you will find that there. We're at $23.75 of the $3,000 goal, and you can donate there, and that would be much appreciated.
Yep, and I'm pulling that up now. I'm going to try to, I'll get it, I'll retweet it out there. Let's move on. Tim, Mike Dean, oh dear. The kind of a running joke that he was, kind of the Paul Webb of Manchester United. Paul Dean was that for us. Seems like there's a lot of handshakes and I guess favorable calls that have happened throughout his tenure as a Premier League referee here lately with Tottenham. Not so much yesterday, my friend.
Yeah, he wasn't wearing the lily white kit yesterday, and it was a bit upsetting. There could have been a couple of easy penalty calls, especially two on Martin Olsen. The one where he got megged by Toby, didn't want to get megged and stopped his progress. It was in the box. Later, he touches the ball with his hand. So I think Mike Dean missed those two. And, given the way that Swansea was parking the bus yesterday, I would have taken the jammiest goal that we could have got just to get it out of there with the 3 points. So, yeah, Mike Dean was not helpful to us yesterday.
Vass, as we exit this, I know you did, I did, and I'm sure just about every other Tottenham fan did. I walked away with this feeling like it was a loss. Not so much that we drew the match, and we did take away a point, but we have already dropped 4 more points at home, if you can even call it that, than we did all of last season. Have we already dropped too many points to even think about winning a title at this point with the way City and United and some of these other teams are playing?
Depends if you're a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of guy, I guess. I know Sam's accused me of being a bit of a happy clapper in the past, but
me too.
I was, yeah. I mean, after the Burnley results and the Swansea result, it's you've had a bad one when you wake up the following morning and it's the first thing that enters your head and it kind of peeves you off again. So too many points dropped, possibly. We've not had the best of starts, but I recall last season Man City won their first 6 or something, and everyone was saying that they were nailed on for the title, and then they imploded. Now, I'm not saying they will do the same this season because I think they've got a stronger squad, and Man United too have also got a stronger squad. So I'm not. All it takes is for a team to go on a run. At this point of the season, last year Chelsea had 9 points. They've got 8 points this season, and then they ended up with 93. This point last season, I think we again had 8 or 9 points, or maybe 11 last season, and we made 86 or something like that. So it's kind of become par for the course. I'm just looking for a tweet. Somebody tweeted out a little while ago to say that our starts in the Premier League for the last however many seasons, it's been very similar. Here we go. This season we've got 8 points at this stage. The season before 11. The season before 6. The season before 7. We had an aberration in 13-14 under Sherwood with 12. We had 8 the season before, 9 the season before, 8 the season before. So if you look at it in that context, as bad as we feel right now about dropping points at Wembley, I don't think it's something to get too concerned about unless, of course, this dropping of points continues.